good day everyone who is joining us on our AusCycling YouTube channel today as we move on to our Friday sessions of the AusCycling Track National Championships. Plenty to get on with today, session number 7, and the first up we have today the Junior 19 Men's Sprint Competition. We also have our Para Scratch Races, so a big day of sprinting ahead, and we will also be finishing off this session today with our Junior Women's 19 Team Sprints. A big hello to everyone around Australia, a big hello to people who are joining us elsewhere in the world, and purely and simply, it's the commentator's mum's birthday today, so happy birthday, Rose, and we love you. We'll be back with the start of the session in just a minute or so's time. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Meares Velodrome Friday here for the AusCycling Track Championships, National Championships. We're going to get underway with our program today. Another big afternoon of sprinting ahead of us, and it will be the Junior Men's 19s starting off with their qualifying 200-metre time trial. We welcome our first rider out onto the track. Rider 102 is Rory Fisk from Queensland. We also have our Para Scratch Race Championships this afternoon and qualifying for our Junior Women 19 Team Sprint. So sit back, get yourselves a drink and enjoy some superb sprinting that we're going to see here this afternoon on AMV. Rory Fisk moving very nicely as he comes into the home straight, dives down the banking into the 200. Let's get everything out of the gear that he possibly can as he goes through the first 100 now. Sort of 5.5 as he comes up the home straight. Got to be strong in the last 100 metres. We'll stop the clock with our first time. 11.374 for Rory. The next rider, just moving down the back straight, another one of our Queensland competitors, rider number 96, this is Chris Mullins. It's just day number 4 of our championships. We've seen 3 great days and nights of racing so far. Big night of racing tonight. We've got our men's and women's elite sprint championships, the semis and finals. Other racing to come as well. We'll be finishing off with the elite men's points race tonight, so plenty to look forward to. 2 more big days of racing over the weekend, and of course we'll be starting off our under 17 and 15s championships tomorrow as well, and they'll go through till Wednesday. Chris goes through the 200 now, moving nice and smoothly down the back straight here, well and truly on top of his gear. Quickest time so far, just inside the time of Rory Fisk as he comes up, stops the clock. Quickest time so far, 11.204, just inside the time of Rory Fisk. Next rider just going underneath the big scoreboard at the end of the home straight here at Meares Velodrome was the South Australian Ewan Grierson. top of the banking, just concentrating at the job at hand. He'll use the bank just to get on top of the gear a little bit more, trying just to save the legs that little bit, get up to speed. And starts to come through the bend this time. Grierson out of the saddle now, building up pace nicely. Who's the first one who's going to go under 11 seconds here this afternoon in the 19 qualification? Grierson moving nicely on top of the gear as he goes through the first 100. Second quickest, around about the 11.2, 11.3 mark at the moment for Grierson as he comes down and stops the clock. 11.119. He moved beautifully over the last 100 metres, increased his pace rather than dying off. So a good ride there from Ewan. He will go to number 1 on the leaderboard for now. A new rider from Victoria, 119. This is Lockie Trenton. Top of the banking as he comes into the home straight this time. 2 laps to go. 11.1 is our top time so far. Let's see what Trenton can do. Can he get himself inside 11 seconds? Start to show just how quick this track can be. Out of the saddle now. The young Victorian building up pace nicely up against the fence. Nice tuck position as he goes through the 200, moving nicely down the back straight here. The Victorian through the first 100. Quickest time at the moment. This is going to be close. Got to be strong up the 100 in the last little bit. Goes in 11.011. You can't get much closer. Good ride by Lockie Trenton. He'll sit top of the leaderboard just for now. The new cyclist out on the track as he comes around the bend now and heads towards us here in the home straight. It is from Tasmania, and this is Max Woodruff. Ridden well here this week, Max. See what he can do here in the 200 metres flyer. Building up pace nicely as he heads down the back straight. Just getting on top of the gear and get out of the saddle soon and really start to accelerate using the downhill run from the banking. Nice line as he goes down towards the 200. Perfect across the line as he moves very nicely here. Max Woodruff of Tasmania goes through the first 100. No scoreboard clock for us, so we're going to have to come back to the time shortly. Hits the line, no time just yet, but we will update that shortly. Max Woodruff of Tasmania. West Australian Lincoln Andrews heads down the back straight, building up pace nicely here. He was the under-17 team sprint champion last year. Comes with some pedigree here. There's Lincoln moving nicely. Sits down into the bars through the 200 as he moves down the back straight. Lincoln Andrews, first year under 19. Moving sharply through the first 100. He's going to have to be strong up the home straight here. He comes up, stops the clock. 11.199 for Lincoln. Nice ride, puts him third quickest just for now. Next of our riders, just heading towards the back straight now, also from Western Australia. This is Trent Rensburg. Trent Rensburg, another one of the riders, was part of the under-17 national team sprint team last year for WA, moved up into the under-19 ranks now. Getting up on top of the gear, just trying to keep on top of it as he goes down the back straight without sprinting yet. Now starts to build up pace as he comes into the home straight. This time Rensburg moving nicely. Goes in early into the 200, using the banking nicely. Really starting to kick down the back straight. What can he do here this afternoon? 5.5 at the moment, moving nicely. Can he get inside the 11-second marker as he hits the line? 11.212 for Trent Rensburg. Rider into the home straight this time. Representing Queensland, number 98 is Keita Smalley. Being on top of the gear, nice and early here, out of the saddle. Wants to make sure he's on top of that big gear. Right up next to the fence, using every part of the track he can here to build speed as he goes down now through the 200. Queensland rider moving very rapidly indeed as he heads down to the 100 here. Quickest time through 100. Can he get inside 11 seconds here this afternoon? Keita goes the line. Our first one, 10.868 for Keita. I'm looking for an updated time on Max Woodruff. I haven't received that yet. Keita goes to 2, which would indicate that Max Woodruff may be sitting in 1. I don't have that information in front of me, sorry, but we'll update that to you very shortly as we welcome our next rider out onto the track. But Keita goes through 10.868. Enzo Madurado from New Caledonia gets underway as he heads down the back straight this time. Moving nicely. Come up into the home straight. See where he can finish off as he comes up to the line. 11.057. Nice ride there from Enzo. Benjamin Woods comes into the home straight, building up pace and nicely here. The Victorian goes into the back straight now, really moving nicely. Through the first 100, quickest so far. Really moving into the home straight. Can he get underneath the 10.8? 10.815, almost identical there. The next rider out on track now is Riley Boyd. Victorian rider out of the saddle, building up pace and nicely here as he comes into the home straight. Max Woodruff with the top time of 10.815. Then Ben Woods, identical time. Riley Boyd comes through. 10.777. He now goes to number one. So we've got Boyd in top spot. Then Max Woodruff from Tasmania, 10.815. Then Ben Woods at 10.815. Keita Smalley, 10.86. Our top four at the moment. The next rider out on track, the Queenslander, just heading down the back straight now, Will Emlis. Building up pace nicely as he heads down the back straight and up through the bend now. Nice line down to the bottom of the track, the Queenslander. Up on top of the gear as he heads down the back straight. Really rapid here as he comes up to the first 100. Quickest through there. How can he go up the home straight? Hanging on to it nicely. Quickest time, 10.623. So Will goes number one, 10.623 at the moment. Our next rider out on track from South Australia is Mitchell Stevens. Mitch Stevens moving nicely, getting on top of the gear here, 10.623, which is the top of the leaderboard here today. Heading down the back straight. Can he get inside the time of Will Emlis? He's quicker at the moment through the 100. He's got to be strong into the home straight. Comes up, stops the clock beautifully, 10.535. The South Australian puts himself in the top spot. Next rider out on track, rider number 99 from Queensland is Sebastian Topping. Seb going through the 200 now, really flying down the back straight. Can he get inside 10.5 here this afternoon? Little bit away from it at the moment. Going to be strong into the home straight, moving nicely. 10.575 right there with Mitch Stevens. Stevens 5.3, Topping rides 5.7. Angus Withington is the rider from the ACT, our new rider on the track, just making his way down the back straight in his first lap. He'll come round next time to receive 2 laps to go. Building up pace beautifully here, Angus Withington, as he comes into the home straight, really moving. See what he can do here. Can he get himself inside 10.53? That's the top of the leaderboard at the moment. Really getting on top of that big gear as he goes through the first 100. A little bit of work to do here, but he looks like on a very big gear ratio as he goes and stops the clock. Gets inside 11, 10.883, 8th place at the moment. 8 riders under 11 seconds here in the junior men 19 ranks today. Luca Pyatt from South Australia is our last rider to go of our 15 entered riders. Just at the top of the banking, will come to the home straight this time. Stevens leads the way, 10.53, then topping 10.57, then Emlis, Boyd, Woodruff, Woods, Keita Smalley, Withington in 8th, then Trenton, Matarado, Grierson, Link Andrews at 12. As Luca Pyatt comes around now to start off his sprint through the 200. Then we have Chris Mullins at 13, Trent Rensburg at 14, our 15th rider out on track now, fastest through the 100. Where's he going to stop the clock? 10.296 for Luca Pyatt, ladies and gentlemen. That's some impressive riding. We'll just go through the lists. Nice riding there from Luca Pyatt, the South Australian. Very, very quick indeed. So Luca Pyatt 10.296. Then we go back to Mitch Stevens with his 10.535. Beautiful piece of riding, 10.296. Top of the leaderboard, number 1 of our 15 here. As we start to move on and get ready for our next event, but that was our Junior 19 qualifying. Pyatt, Stevens, topping Emlis, Boyd, Woodruff, Woods, Smalley. They're the top 8. Then we've got Withington, Trenton, Matarado, Grierson, Andrews, Mullins, Fisk, and then Rensburg, from what I can make out. Yes, Trent Rensburg. So that's our group. And they'll be out in the first round shortly. We're now going to move on to the next of our Para Championships, and this will be event 88 on our programs. This is the men's Para Scratch Race Final, over 10 kilometres. A good field in this as well. Nick Neals, Gordon Allen, Corey Boddington, Kyle Willis, Ollie Hutchinson, Kili Kipkovitz, Darren Hicks, Harry Metzger, Alistair Donahue, and also Matt Gray.
What kind of shots do you want down here? So we're like... So you just want like start shots from here, or what do you want during the race? Sorry. Yeah. Okay, alright, let me lock it off then for that for the moment, because I'm holding it with one hand. But yeah, okay, so you just want some, not necessarily coverage, but just some interest shots to cut away to. Yeah, alright. Yeah, cool. Yeah, alright. Yeah, easy. Yeah, cool. I just give me a call if I'm not doing what you need. All right, sweet, thanks. Cheers, bye. How are you?
Rolling that to start us off in the Para Scratch Race Championship. 40 laps. We saw a fantastic elimination race from our para athletes yesterday. And off we go, 40 laps of the track. We do have mixed classifications within this classification, so very much bragging rights to see who wins it outright, but there are several different national titles on offer within this group. Harry Metzger from Victoria gets himself off the front here. Wants to make just a bit of a harder bike race of it. I think it might be Kili Kitkovits going out after him. Will come through this time with 38 laps to go. Straight up round the outside. The Queenslander moving nicely. And Kitkovits starting to ride away from Metzger, the rest of the bunch. Quite happy just with the pace at the moment. Kyle Willis leads down the back straight, then Corey Boddington. Boddington now leads through. Willis drops down onto his wheel as they start to form a chase. And then Alistair Donoghue goes to the front as he heads down the back straight. And the pace of Donoghue is just doing the damage. They're just starting to split this race up straight away here, Donoghue. Boddington, Willis, Matt Gray from Western Australia and Darren Hicks on the Argon. We're all quite happy just to follow, swing back up to the top of the track, because when Donoghue starts to turn the screw, it does do some damage here. Good riding by the breakaway though. Kili Kitkovits going through, 35 laps to go, keeping them under pressure. Swings up, looking for some assistance possibly from Harry Metzger, but he wasn't right on the wheel, so he's actually doing two turns at this stage. Gordon Allen, Willis, Hicks in front of the bunch as they head down the back straight. Good riding here by the breakaway. Metzger swings up now. Kitkovits goes on with it as they move to the back straight. Matt Gray, the West Australian. Short, sharp turns from the riders, just keeping the bunch rolling without putting themselves in too much bother. Kitkovits straight up around the outside. Not happy with the pace, doesn't want to get caught, wants to keep going on with this one down the back straight. They're going to come round it next time with 32 laps to go. Laps to go, and Kitkovits going on with it nicely here. He's put the bunch under some pressure here. Gap starting to open up between each of the riders, really lined out now as Boddington swings up, and then Willis, Allen, Darren Hicks just off the wheel. Once he gets that bike up and moving, he is absolutely phenomenally fast. Kitkovits though is feeling the pressure. Go very quickly to stay off the front like this in a scratch race on the indoor track. Kitkovits sees better of it, swings up, wants to get a bit of a breather. Ollie Hutchinson just been tailed off with the pace there. Perry Judd the same, and Metzger, after doing all the attacking at the start, finding it a little bit difficult as they come into the home straight, just slightly adrift. Gordon Allen, Donahue, then Hicks, then we go back to Boddington. They're all starting to swing up, looking for a chance to follow wheels rather than have to go through and do a turn here. Alistair Donahue, very efficient rider, raced on the NRS for many years. Superb road cyclist, and here we go. No surprises here. Alistair getting underway now. Corey Boddington's going to go after him though, and he moves up onto the wheel nicely. Darren Hicks has missed the boat a little bit. He won't be happy about that, and he'll try and get himself back to the front of the bike race to try and chase this down. Kitkovics sets the tempo on the bunch. Matt Gray follows him round. Kyle Willis, good turn by Matt Gray, making sure the bunch keeps moving. And Kyle Willis, and then Darren Hicks. Our breakaway comes into the home straight. Alistair Donahue up round the outside of Perry Judd. Corey Boddington working with Donahue at this point. The bunch working together, they are suffering to do so. Gordon Allen just getting himself back on. Nick Neals just still there, the ACT rider, as our breakaway comes through with 24 laps to go and now goes up around the outside of Harry Metzger as they head down the back straight. They're working well together, Boddington and Donahue. Darren Hicks on the front of the bunch has a look over the shoulder to see if he can start to ride away. There's an opportunity there if he decides to dive down the track, but it's hard work out there, very hard work. The breakaway really is moving slick. They get round Ollie Hutchinson down the back straight. They'll come into the home straight this time. They'll receive 22 laps to go, not quite halfway yet. And they're looking to take a lap on the rest of the field here, these two riders, making the most of their time on the Meares Velodrome here this afternoon. Boddington leads Donahue as they head round the bend and towards the tail end of this bunch. Hicks on the front, Kyle Willis follows him, then Kitkovics, Gordon Allen, Matt Gray, Nick Neals and Perry Judd as they head down the back straight this time. And Boddington and Donahue, round of applause for them. They've taken a lap in the scratch race. Move themselves back to the front of the bike race. Will they take a breather or will they go again? Big week of racing here for all these riders. And Donahue, he goes on again, not content. Wants to put Corey Boddington under some pressure, but he's also chasing Darren Hicks. Darren Hicks is hoping that they're just going to take a breather after taking that lip. He goes through, he just the back straight this time as he goes through the eye of the needle. Everything good. Boddington, Donahue, they're chasing out after Hicks. Everybody else swings to the top of the track, looks for a breather. Moving nicely here. Hicks got that perfect rhythm going now down the back straight, the South Australian. He's putting Boddington and Donahue under some pressure to chase here. And they haven't just leapt out of the bunch and gotten across. Gordon Allen though, he's leapt out of the bunch and he's getting across to them. Not content to lose another lap, he's going to go with the two leaders as they all go out after Darren Hicks. The bunch, however, they're scrambling for a wheel to sit on, scrambling for a little bit of respite here as they head down the back straight. Kitkovics, after spending 10 laps off the front of the bunch early on, now finds himself on the front of the group chasing. Hicks still in front of Allen, Boddington and Donahue. He's now got his sights on trying to catch this main field. He's going to reel in Perry Judd and Ollie Hutchinson as he goes through the 200 and into the back straight. Donahue keeps looking over the shoulder. Every time he does, he's got Corey Boddington for company. Gordon Allen just getting tailed off now as Hicks comes into the home straight. Boddington and Donahue getting a little bit closer, but they're having to work for it with 14 laps to go. Boddington swings up. Donahue just accelerates through underneath Boddington. Always hurts the man who's just done his turn. All three riders now coming together as they come into the home straight. Hicks is going to get himself onto the back of this main group very shortly, but Boddington and Donahue are going to do the same, and they're going to take a second lap as Hicks takes his first lap, and Hicks isn't going to mess around. No rest for the wicked, and he's up round the outside and keeps going. Boddington up round the outside, finds a wheel to follow as Kitkovics tries to go after Darren Hicks. So Boddington gets a slight reprieve of having to do the turn as they all start to follow Darren Hicks down the back straight. The rest of the field just starting to get into a little bit of trouble here, trying to follow on. into the home straight this time, 12 laps to go. Gordon Allen's been detached from the main field. And 4 riders now starting to go away from the rest. And there's races within the races here. A number of different categories. And you can see the 2 riders in the back straight. That's Nick Niels and Matt Gray. They exist in the MC5 category. So does Alistair Donahue. So Alistair Donahue is 2 laps up on those riders in the MC5 category. So they'll look at each other because they'll be sprinting for the silver and bronze medal. Alistair Donahue 2 laps clear at the moment as they go through with 10 laps to go. And moving well. At 4 now, 4 riders, Darren Hicks, Keely, Corey and Alistair. 9 to go. Who's going to get the bragging rights? Corey Boddington in a sprint finish, you would back for speed here, but Alistair Donahue, such a strong rider. He's got that acceleration, that really good acceleration as they go through. So Boddington and Donahue are leaders of the race. They are 1 lap ahead of Darren Hicks, the South Australian, and then there are 2 laps ahead of the majority of the rest of the field. Harry Metzger at 3, Perry Judd at 4, Ollie Hutchinson at 5. Not unusual in this style of race because we've got different categories, different categorisations. You can see Matt Gray, and he's got Nick Niels for company, the ACT rider. They've turned this into a match sprint, those 2 riders. They're not worried about getting lapped again. They know Donahue is gone, the gold medal is gone. But sprint for silver and bronze between them will be a doozy. 6 laps to go. As the next 4 will go down a lap to the breakaway here. And Matt Gray sees the opportunity to get himself on to the back of the train as it goes past. Gordon Allen sees the same thing. They'll come through this time with 5 to go, the main field. Alistair Donahue leads through. He's also leading the MC5 category. That's going to be his. Corey Boddington, then Darren Hicks, Gordon Allen, Keely Kitkovics, Matt Gray, got himself in front of Nick Niels. Then we go back to Donahue, then Kyle Willis, Harry Metzger. They'll come through this time with 4 laps to go, just 1,000 metres. Ollie Hutchinson just getting overtaken in the home straight this time. Who's going to take the line honours in this scratch race final? Corey Boddington, very, very fast. 1,000 metre time trial and sprinter. And he's been able to go with Alistair Donahue, which is not a common sight when Alistair gets underway, but Corey's able to well and truly handle him here today. They head down the back straight. Nick Niels doing the right thing, trying to get himself away from Matt Gray in that pace line. They come to the home straight. Boddington getting on with it. Donahue having to go out after him. 2 laps to go this time. Boddington set sail for the finish line now. Donahue going with him. Then we look back to the bunch and have a look at 1 or 2 of the little sprints that take place for the national title in their categories. Boddington leads through. He's heading to a national title anyway, so is Donahue at the moment. But who's going to get bragging rights for the scratch race between the boys? Matt Gray steps out. He's going to look for silver in his division. They'll come into the home straight, the 2 leaders. Boddington with Donahue on the hip. They'll come up to the line now. Boddington, he had a look to the right-hand side, suddenly saw Alistair was sitting there, and he accelerated. So Boddington takes line honours in front of Donahue. Darren Hicks will be 3rd. Matt Gray taking the bunch sprint. What a great finish to the scratch race here for our para-athletes. And we're doing their presentations shortly. Great riding by Alistair Donahue and Corey Boddington. Great racing. first heat of our junior men 19, round number 1. Luca Pyatt, South Australia. Rory Fisk from Queensland. He's our 16th qualifier. So the winner goes through to the 8th finals. The loser goes through to the repechage. Big afternoon of sprinting to come. Big day of sprinting yesterday. We still have the semi-finals and finals to go in our elite men and our elite women competition. That will be happening later this evening. So if you're joining us on the AusCycling YouTube channel, tonight you'll be able to catch all the action on SBS or SBS On Demand with Kate Bates and Scott McGorry. The coverage has been excellent. If you're looking for updates, you can go onto the AusCycling social pages on Instagram and Facebook. Coming to the home straight this time, Rory Fisk leads the way in front of Luca Pyatt. No pace on at the moment. They just have to go at a walking pace for the first half lap. After that, tactics are plenty, and Luca Pyatt, he's not too worried here. He wants to get on with the job. The fastest qualifier. He's going to start to dictate terms now. Rory Fisk puts himself into second wheel. Difficult spot to come from when the man you're up against is a lot faster in the first place, but they'll come to the home straight this time. Luca Pyatt just accelerating down the bottom of the track. Rory Fisk gains height to try and get on top of the big gear, but just loses distance in the process as Luca Pyatt heads down the back straight, has a big look over the shoulder. I don't recommend sitting up early, but he's well clear of his opponent and he'll go through to the next round. We'll see Rory in the repechages. Welcome our next heat up onto the track now from South Australia. We have Mitchell Stevens. His opponent will be from WA, and this is Trent Rensburg. Stevens leads down the back straight. Rensburg just happy to follow on at this point of the ride. They'll go across the halfway point of the first lap. So Stevens and Pyatt, two South Australians, 1 and 2 in qualifying. These guys will know each other. They've ridden through the junior ranks into state riders. We'll come to the home straight now. Cuts the line, 2 laps to go. Stevens quite happy just to cover the track at the moment. Not making too much movement. Rensburg's the one who has to try and dictate terms here because he's got to find a way to take on. Good riding here from the West Australian. No messing around, got himself to the front, but he's committed now a long way from home. Stevens just gets himself up into the slipstream here. Rensburg at full gas down the back straight. But there will be a speed difference between the two as Stevens comes up round the outside. Good fight by Rensburg, but Stevens too fast, too strong up round the outside. He'll go through to the next round. We'll see Trent Rensburg in the repechage. It's an all Queensland affair. Heat number 3. We welcome Chris Mullins and Sebastian Topping. Sebastian rider number 99 and Chris Mullins rider number 96. Two Queenslanders down the back straight. They'll know each other very well. Home track advantage for the Queensland riders as well. Very, very familiar with Meares Velodrome. Come to the home straight this time. 2 laps to go. Must be said though, if the riders here in the junior ranks have been here in the 15s and the 17s over the last few years, they'll be very familiar with this track. We've been here every year for a number of years now, so it's not like it's a home track advantage. It might be in your state, but everyone very familiar with how this track goes. I've ridden here for 4 or 5 years. The pace goes up now as they come into the home straight, moving nicely up around the outside. Chris Mullins got some work to do down the back straight. A Seb Topping underway, really moving nicely through the first 100. Got himself in front of Chris, going to take himself through to the 8th final. Heat number 4. Heat number 4 getting themselves ready to come up onto the track. This will be the Queenslander Will Emlis, and he's racing against the West Australian Lincoln Andrews. Will's drawn front spot, he'll lead away, the faster qualifier of the two as well. We'll just be hoping to make sure that he keeps his seed in place here. The higher seed doesn't want to lower his colours this early in the competition, certainly not against somebody who didn't quite qualify as quick as him, but racing man against man, it doesn't really matter about qualifying times. You can get the tactics right, anything can happen. We'll come across the line with 2 laps to go. Emlis leads the way in front of Andrews. Andrews jammed right up to him, has to go underneath him now. He ran out of room, not quite laying off enough. Now he's trying to keep Will Emlis up the track. Emlis sees the open gate, so he starts to speed up through it. One thing about leading out, you've got to keep your pace controlled. You've got to be able to move when you can, otherwise your rider above you's got height, can use the banking and get round the outside very quickly. We'll come into the home straight, no pace on at the moment between the two. Now Emlis with the advantage of the higher position, but Lincoln Andrews, good riding, stays outside the red line for now, into the back straight. Now it's a drag race, but Emlis hasn't gotten out of the saddle. He's just accelerating as he goes around the outside. Andrews fighting on, but Emlis has him in hand, and Emlis will go through to the 8s, and we'll see Lincoln Andrews try and come back through the Repechage heats. Heat number 5 now comes up onto the track. This is Riley Boyd from Victoria, our 5th fastest qualifier, going up against Ewan Grierson from South Australia. Riley Boyd rode 10.77 in qualifying. Grierson was 11.1. So as we go through these next heats, it gets a lot closer with the qualifying rides. So tactics very important indeed. The first 4 rounds, there's about half a second or more between each rider each time. And you can see, as we saw with the 2 West Australians, still very close racing, even though they're about half a second in qualifying behind their opponent. Just about around the 0.3 really between these two, so I expect to see this one a little bit closer. Grierson jammed up on the back wheel as they come to the home straight, not giving himself too much room to move. We'll try and just lay off that wheel or try and take front position. Goes up around the outside of Boyd here, both riders coming together a little bit as they go round. Boyd doing a good job of just holding Grierson up. Probably needs a little bit more pace to make sure he just stays in front. Grierson wasn't confident about going so slow on the banking. They'll come through the bend this time. Boyd goes to Grierson in the middle of the banking, holding his opponent up nicely. Waiting for him to pounce, waiting for him to move. Now Boyd gets underway. Leads into the 200 metre mark, has a look over the shoulder to see where Grierson is. An early look because he was right there. Now he's got to make some effort through the bend here, the Victorian, because Grierson tried to get up round the hip, still fighting into the home straight, but Boyd, once he got on top of the gear, he was fine. But Grierson made him think twice about it, so Riley Boyd goes through to the next round, and we'll see Ewan in the repechage. Move on now to heat number 6, and we welcome from New Caledonia, this is Enzo Mataredo, and from Victoria, this is Benjamin Woods. New Caledonia rider leads. Go through with 2 laps to go. Keeping good pace on here. Nothing really between these two either in the qualifying. Mataredo is the slower of the two. However, he was 11.05. Woods was 10.81. They come to the home straight this time, and the New Caledonian rider has just lost sight of where the Victorian is. And Woods got himself into the sprinters lane beautifully. They head down the back straight now. Woods sits down, gets on top of the gear. Mataredo trying to get to him now as they come through the bend, but Woods is going to hold him off in the home straight. A good sprint between the two. But once the faster rider gets in the lead in these situations, very hard for the second rider to be able to come out of the slipstream and get round. So Woods will go through the next one, and Enzo will see him in the Repechages. We now welcome heat number 7 coming up onto the track now. This is Max Woodruff from Tasmania, qualified in 10.81. His opponent this time will be Lockie Trenton, qualified 11.01. The Victorian has drawn front spot. And I've spoken of this week. We welcome our 2 coaches from Victoria, Shane Kelly, 5-time world champion, and also Matt Gilmore of Tasmania, as world Madison champion, silver medalist in the Olympics. So we've got some great coaching pedigree on the track here at the Meares Velodrome. If we lined all the coaches up, we would have a great deal of world championship medals and Olympic champions here. So it's great to see our former riders moving into positions with institute programs, looking after elite teams and also looking after junior teams. The Victorian leads through. Trenton, what can he do against the Tasmanian Woodruff? Woodruff is that a little bit quicker in qualifying. Is that going to translate? Is it going to translate into the one-on-one racing? The Victorians not afraid of the old style of sprinting here as they head down the back straight and like to hold their opponent up. It's great to see, great racing to see as they come into the home straight. This time they'll receive 1 lap to go, but the Victorian rider, Trenton, has decided to go early here. Woodruff just goes up a little bit high and wants to get on top of that gear a little bit easier. He heads to the back straight, hasn't really used the slingshot effect of getting in the slipstream, but now he's going to have to try and muscle himself around the outside of the Victorian, but Victoria's going to hang on here. Trenton is the first rider to reverse the seedings through the sprint contest. Good sportsmanship from both riders as they head down the back straight. So Lockie Trenton, he'll take himself through to the 8th, and then we'll see Max Woodruff. He will have to now come back through the Repechages. This is going to be heat number 9, our final heat in round number 1 of our sprints for the junior 19s. And we welcome the faster qualifier of the 2. First up, the Queenslander. This is Keita Smalley and his opponent, Angus Withington from the ACT. Withington leads the way as he comes into the home straight this time. Nothing between these two in qualifying. Withington keeping Smalley high up the banking. Smalley looking for a way round. Keeps on looking to try and jump underneath Withington, but Withington's got that covered. He's making sure Smalley has to go around the outside, making him go twice as far. Good riding here from the ACT rider, but he's going early. Small will be liking this. He'll be able to open up now, try and get in the slipstream and use it to his advantage as they head down the back straight. Withington strong from the front. Smalley, he's got out to the hip. He's got to get further round into the home straight. Withington strong from the front, too strong from the front. And we see another reversal of the seedings here in round number 1 of our junior men 19s. Ladies and gentlemen, we turn your attention now please to our presentation podium. And we welcome our first presentation, the men's para C5 scratch race. Medals will be presented by Councillor Alex Gibney, representing the Lord Mayor of Brisbane. In third place, winner of the bronze medal, representing the ACT. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm reading off the wrong list. That's my fault, blame the commentator. Please welcome the C2 category scratch race. In second place, my apologies, Gordon Allen, New South Wales. In first place, winner of the gold medal and national champion from South Australia, Darren Hicks. We now welcome the Para C3 national champion representing Queensland, Kyle Willis. We now welcome the winner of the Para C4 scratch race, national champion representing Queensland, Corey Boddington. We now welcome the men's Para 5 C5 scratch race podium. In third place, representing the ACT, Nick Niels. In second place, winner of the silver medal, representing Western Australia, Matthew Gray. In first place, winner of the gold medal and national champion, Alistair Donoghue of Victoria. Ladies and gentlemen, we now welcome the men's Para AWII scratch race podium. And in third place, winner of the bronze medal, representing Queensland, Ollie Hutchinson. In second place, representing Victoria, Harry Metzger. And in first place, winner of the gold medal and national champion, representing Queensland, Keely Kitkovics. Ladies and gentlemen, we now welcome our men's para transplant champion scratch race winner, national champion Perry Judd. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the first of our repechages. And we welcome back onto the track two Queenslanders. Rider 102 is Rory Fisk. Rider 98 is Keita Smalley. Winners will go into the 8th finals, and the others will go into a ride-off. Two Queensland riders pushing the walking pace limits to its very end as they move through the first half lap. Now they try to start to track stand, try to force the opponent through to the front. Smalley has to move round into the home straight, the faster of the two. 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go as they come through this time. Fisk just laying off a little bit. No pace whatsoever from these two. It's good bike handling for Fisk as he's a little bit up the track now. Smalley has to watch his speed down the back straight. Fisk has an advantage here. If he tends to use it, if he chooses to use it, it could come in handy. They'll come in to the bend at this time. Smalley still no pace on, bottom of the track as they come into the home straight. Now Smalley hears the bell. He's going to start to get himself up to speed. Fisk still up high, hasn't used that run of the banking. Smalley goes and greets him at halfway and says, "You're not going to use it over the top of me," and that's good riding there from Smalley. Goes up to Fisk, takes away the advantage of any downhill run. He now rides away from him in the home straight. Keita Smalley goes across the line. He'll go through to the next round. We move on now to repechage number 2. We welcome the riders up onto the track, Max Woodruff and Trent Rensburg. Rensburg draws front spot and right away first. Quite happy to be quick out of the blocks there. Both these riders done nicely this week so far in the couple of rides that they've had. Woodruff, he'd have been happier not to find himself in this position. He moves himself easily to the front here. Now gets to a position to dictate terms to Rensburg. Woodruff was the faster qualifier by some margin between the two. So Rensburg is going to have to try and work out a way to try and hold that pace back, because once he gets to top speed, it's going to be hard work to come off the wheel of Woodruff. No gap being left at all at the moment by Trent as they head down the back straight. Woodruff Has a look over the shoulder. Plenty of room to dive down, but Rensburg happy to stay in the slipstream. Now they go in. Rensburg, however, gets himself inside Woodruff there and now takes front spot. Good work here by Rensburg. Down the back straight, Woodruff now puts himself in a lot of pain to try and get out of this. Rensburg is going to hang on here. Up the home straight, Rensburg to the line. He does hang on. Great ride from Trent Rensburg. He takes care of the fastest seed. He moves himself through to the 8th final. That's what I'm talking about when you're racing rider versus rider, and Rensburg, great quality ride there, puts himself up into the next round. He'll be very happy with that ride. The beautiful thing about match race sprinting, anything can happen, rider versus rider. And Rensburg gives himself every chance for the rest of the day. We go on to Repechage number 3 now. We welcome from Queensland Chris Mullins, and from New Caledonia Enzo Mataredo. Mullins has drawn front spot. He'll lead away. So Monteredo, he was the faster qualifier of the two here, so be an interesting one here. Mullins leads the way. Knows this track best of the two, but it's not the first time Enzo's been here. Seen him at the National Championships before. It's a great initiative to have our riders from New Caledonia, New Meares, join us here. Coming to the home straight this time with 2 laps to go. Once upon a time we used to have the Oceania Championships take place in New Caledonia in New Meares. Outdoor concrete 333 track. It's still there. Needs a bit of love, but it is still there. I head down the back straight this time. Mullins leads the way over the top, trying to get through the rider from New Caledonia. Can Enzo get himself up around the outside, leave some room underneath, thinks about it. It's a good idea, but Mullins equal to the task. Now Enzo up around the outside over the top of Chris. Chris fighting back on the inside. Good strong ride here from the Queenslander. It's a drag race again down the back straight. Now through the bend, Mullins leads the way. Can he get up around the outside, Enzo? But Mullins too strong from the front. Another reversal of the seedings here in this Junior Men 19 competition. Good riding from Chris Mullins from the front. We move on. Repechage number 4 coming out onto the track now. We welcome back Ewan Grierson and Lincoln Andrews. The West Australian Andrews has drawn front position and he'll lead away with this one. So Andrews and Grierson fairly evenly matched. Grierson, both riders rode well in their first round. They were just up against a faster opponent. We've seen Rensburg and Mullins reverse the seedings here in these rounds. I think Andrews quite happy to do the tactics. Grierson as well returns the favour down the back straight as they roll away. So Grierson now goes to the lead. Lincoln Andrews staying high up on the track. What can he do here against the South Australian? Grierson starts to come up to greet him. Lincoln Andrews giving himself plenty of moving room at the moment. Grierson just covering the track nicely, keeping the pace high, forcing Andrews to have to accelerate with him rather than back into him. You see that Andrews has to keep building pace now because Grierson is controlling affairs at the front and trying to take away of the advantage that Lincoln Andrews may have of running down the bank and getting up onto top speed, and that's what Andrews does, and he gets around the back straight, gets around the outside, and now is able to drop down in the metre line. Great riding here from Lincoln Andrews. Another one of our seated riders is just reversed. Andrews has a look over the shoulder and wonders what all the trouble was about. Great ride from Andrews, goes through to the next round.
How are you? Doing okay. It's actually hard work, isn't it? You know what you need to get into, like V8 supercar racing or something, or the Formula One, where you sit on this like sled, and then as you move the camera, your seat moves around with it, so it's almost like you're, I don't know, shooting a gun on a battleship or something. You know, it's much easier than standing up. Yeah. Yeah. So I do some AFL work down at Geelong, at the Cat Stadium down there, and so yeah, we get the nice cameras there too. That's a football game. Yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen, we now welcome our women's para scratch race final over 40 laps. A small field, but the utmost quality. Everyone here, well, they're reigning or former world champion Paralympians as well. Please welcome from South Australia, Meg Lemon. From Victoria, Tara Nayland. Also from Victoria, Alana Forster and Talia Clayton-Goody. Meg Lemon and Tara Nayland in the WC4 categories. That's 170 and 174. Alana Forster in WC5 and Talia Clayton-Goody in WC1. Much like the men's event, 3 championships on the line for these 4 riders, but they always race to the utmost pace as they go through to start themselves off. 2 world champion jerseys in the bunch. Magnificent to see here our para riders always world class as they head down the back straight to start off their scratch race. Meg Lemon. Tempo being set by Meg Lemon as they head down the back straight. Then we've got Talia Clayton-Goody. Alana Forster is the rider in the Victorian colours, and then Tara Nayland in the world champion bands. Just at the tail of the field as they go through this time. A steady, good tempo here from the para women's field as they head down the back straight. They'll have 36 laps to go when they enter the home straight this time. Good bike handling. No one just dropping down the track a little bit there. So good thing that no one came together. So it's 170 and 174. That is one of the interesting contests to look at in this one. And that's the red jersey, the South Australian jersey of Meg Lemon, and the other world champion jersey of the two, Tara Nayland, who is in third wheel at the moment. They're both racing for the C4 category, the WC4 category. Alana Forster, WC5, and Clayton Goody, who's WC1 and world champion in this division. We'll come through this time and receive 34 laps to go. Meg Lemon just starting to turn the pace on here as she heads down the back straight. They went through with 32 laps to go. Very evenly contested, these four, when they race together. All super quality. We always see this from our female para riders. And Alana Forster. Surprised we haven't seen an attack yet from Alana. It's usually the way, but Meg Lemon, she's not interested with turning this into a match sprint. She wants to make it as hard as she possibly can. And her main opponent, Tara Nayland, for the national title, comes out after her. Nayland leads down the back straight, and Meg Lemon's got to pay attention to her. Then Clayton Goody and Forster. A big afternoon of sprinting still to come with our junior men 19s. We've also got our junior women 19 qualifying team sprints to happen this afternoon. Remember, as you come in the front doors, in the back straight here, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Brisbane Cycling Festival tents on display. We've got Matt Hay, our State Operations Manager of Queensland, manning the tent, and they have a number of t-shirts available. We have Brisbane Cycling Festival National Championships t-shirts available, and also our Track World Cup t-shirts from the Perth World Cup. Both very nice designs with the velodromes on each. Also have some magnificent Yeti quality keep cups and water bottles, the aluminium insulated designs. And also we have some AusCycling. We have some AusCycling reusable coffee cups and also bags. We have baseball caps from the World Cup and also the Brisbane Cycling Festival. And of course we have Podium in the back straight. Podium are our suppliers for our national jerseys that are being handed out at our presentations. Fantastic local company here in Brisbane, and they've got their display in the back straight, and we'll have more displays as the day goes on, more shops available as the day goes on. I'll give you more information as they start to set up. It's going to be a nice afternoon of racing. We've got a great big night of racing here, and also Saturday night we've got the lights show. We've got compares from the track centre. So much to look forward to as we move through this next couple of nights here at the Meares Velodrome. A big hello to everyone who's joining us on the AusCycling YouTube channel. I hope you're enjoying the coverage. We've seen some great racing over the last 4 days, and we're going to go all the way through to Wednesday next week, because we've got a lot more people in the crowd here today, and they're all wearing state team polo shirts. We've got all the juniors who are turned up the day before their national championships, our under 15 juniors and our under 17 juniors. We've had some of them up here in the commentary box to check out what we do up here with all of the live streaming, which has been great to have them up here. And they're here to watch some of the racing before heading back to the hotel and getting themselves ready for racing tomorrow. 21 laps to go, and Meg Lemon is the rider who is putting the pressure down. Tara Nayland up round the outside of her is equal to the task, and Alana Forster as well. Good pace here by these three. Talia Clayton-Goody just getting tailed off a little bit there. Remember, we've got 3 categories in the one race here, and the contest for the first and second is between the South Australian and the world champion on the front of the group now. Alana Forster, she sits in the WC5 category, and normally see Alana off the front by this stage. But each year the tactics do change a little bit from our riders. They don't always turn up the same way year to year. The form sometimes not the same, and of course riders will come back to you after a while. They'll see the work they have to do to just improve that little bit more, and there's a good few days of racing ahead. 18 laps to go for our para scratch race.
No. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so you want me to lock this off now or keep going with coverage until... Okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Alright. I'll do that and then we'll change it for sprints when that happens. Sweet. Yeah, cool. Alright, and then I can sort that out and then come back here and enjoy the evening.
Our main field will come into the home straight this time with 15 laps to go.
Yeah.
Tara Nayland at the front of the group.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what category you're riding in, the rainbow bands, the world champion jersey looks magnificent every single time we see it at an Australian championship. And we see plenty of them in our para categories over the years, which is wonderful to see. We don't always get to see them in the elite competitions because we win quite a few championships in the teams events, team sprint and teams pursuits over the years. And of course, the way our elite categories work, a number of riders in the enduro events sometimes have road duties, and we don't get to see them at the national track championships all of the time. As they head down the back straight, Meg Lemon turns up the pace again. Former world champion, para champion in the Olympics as well. A lovely person to interview. I've had the pleasure of interviewing a number of these riders before things like Paris and Tokyo Games. Magnificent stories they are able to tell. Tara Nayland onto the front. Meg Lemon just at the top of the track. She raced the other day, wasn't able to join us for the presentations in one of the races that she finished second in. She was a little bit unwell, so it's nice to see that Meg's got herself up for today, no problem at all. And she's been the animator of this race so far. She's the one who's been increasing the tempo, and everyone else has been following. They're quite happy to follow, however, they haven't then taken the initiative to go faster than what Meg has done. So Nayland and Forster happy with the pace, happy to take it closer to the finish line as well as they move through with 10 laps to go this time. The two on the front, those first two, they're sprinting for gold and silver. Forster, she's on a national championship. We're looking for bragging rights to be able to win this race outright. And then Talia Clayton-Goody in the WC1 category. 9 laps to go this time as they go through. Pace just drops off a little bit. Meg Lemon, you can set your watch to her. Keeps coming back to the front and setting the tempo here against the other two. Seven laps to go as they come through. Shoulder to shoulder. It's going to be a very long sprint at this rate with Tara Nayland and Meg Lemon as they sit alongside each other down the back straight. Meg Lemon's going at a pace that she can't really go around unless you put in a really hard attack. But it's also one that's just keeping everyone at bay. No quick turns being done here. It's Tara Nayland. Meg Lemon leads. Five to go this time as they come into the home straight. Nothing has changed. Meg Lemon leads at the bottom of the track. Tara Nayland quite happy to ride at her pace around the outside. Now Lemon speeds up down the back straight, increases the pace again. Tara Nayland sees the opportunity just to follow. Now Meg Lemon swings up, tries to position it down the back. Is she looking for a rest or is she looking for an opportunity of surprise here? Lays off the back of the group a little bit. They'll get 3.5 laps down when they head down the back straight. Nayland leads from Forster. Forster has just followed mainly, done her turn when she's needed to, but just followed the pace of the other two as they go through this time with 3 laps to go. Nayland has a look over the shoulder, swings up ever so slightly. Forster happy just to follow. 2.5 laps to go. Are we going to see a long, drawn-out sprint here? Nayland in the world champion colours. Comes into the home straight this time. Meg Lemon brings herself back to the front of the group, or tries to, not able to. Alana Forster. This is the sort of move I was expecting from Alana earlier in the race, but Tara Nayland's just too strong to the task at the moment. And they go side by side through the bend as they come into the home straight. Nayland goes to the lead. Tara Nayland, the world champion, leads from Alana Forster. Held her off on the bend and holding her off down the back straight. Meg Lemon, after all that hard work, is just getting tailed off in the sprint here. But Tara Nayland comes into the home straight. The champion of the world is going to win the scratch race here this afternoon. Forster crosses in second, Meg Lemon in third, and then we'll have Talia Clayton-Goody. Remember, we've got 3 national champions crowned from our group of 4. Forster, Nayland and Talia Clayton-Goody, and Meg Lemon will take the silver medal in her category.
Good luck. know where you were, but then I saw you. I just all of a sudden saw you and you were holding the cup. How's the day going? Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Yeah. I'm just going to set this. It's been far worse. I'm just going to one thing over there. Yeah. Yeah. So you get stuck here with both. But I am ready. I've seen you somewhere before. Yes, my daughter's in
We now move on to our men's under 19 eighth final. Winners will move. The winners will move into the quarterfinals. Others will go to the repechage. And our first heat will be Luca Pyatt versus Lincoln Andrews. So Luca Pyatt, quickest one here today. Good riding though by Lincoln Andrews. He's been able to reverse the seedings and move up into the this final. So good riding as he now holds things up in the back straight. Luca Pyatt. Pyatt quite happy to join him with the track stand here. The riders cannot move forwards and backwards too much at all. Pyatt just trying to stay on top of it, couldn't quite nail it. Good riding by Lincoln Andrews. He's done what he wants to do. He's forced his opponent to the front. Now he's going to have to work out a way to get past him because Luca Pyatt is very, very fast. But we saw the ride of Lincoln Andrews, the element of surprise, worked for him in the first one. Luca Pyatt would have seen that ride and he's not going to worry about the element of surprise. He's going to cause a rift, and he goes very, very early because he saw that Andrews was laying off and he was laying off a little bit too far. So Lincoln Andrews has some work to do now into the last lap because Luca Pyatt is taking full advantage. Down the back straight, he looks over the shoulder. Pyatt will be very confident from here. He's just going to cruise round the last part of the journey. Luca Pyatt will go through to the quarterfinals and we'll see Lincoln Andrews try to come back through the repechage. We move on now to race number 2. And we welcome the Queensland rider, number 96 is Chris Mullins. His opponent, riding 109 from South Australia, this is Mitchell Stevens. Chris Mullins drew the front spot for this one and leads down the back straight. As I've said before, just a walking pace to the halfway line is all they have to do when they draw that front spot, and they can decide whether they try and force their opponent to the front However, the rider who lines up in second position, they can move straight back to the front if they choose to, if they want to take that lead. No pace on as they come into the home straight this time. Mullins still leads at the bottom of the track, but they gain a little bit of height from it now. Two laps to go. They move through the bend as they head towards the back straight this time. Pace just starting to increase ever so slightly. Stevens right up behind Mullins, now trying to get a little bit of room from him, a little bit of running speed. Just want to get that little bit of air behind him so that he can move. Mullins keeping him nicely positioned up the top of the track. Now they start to dive down. Mullins is underway, still having a look at Stevens. Stevens tries to go shoulder to shoulder as they head down the back straight. Mullins tries to ride him off, but Stevens sits down in the saddle. Mullins is going nicely on the inside, but Stevens just too strong as he gets up around the outside and then rides away from Chris Mullins and goes through to the next round. We'll still see Chris Mullins, however, try and come back through the repechage. Repechage number 3 comes out onto the track now from Queensland. We welcome Sebastian Topping, and his opponent will be from WA, and this is Trent Rensburg. Rensburg, like a couple of others here this afternoon, was able to reverse the seeding after qualifying and get himself a bit further deeper into the competition. But two opportunities here. Can he get the better of Sebastian Topping? If he doesn't, he's still got a chance to the repechage. Whistle goes, and the reason for that is the lead rider has to lead for the first half lap at a walking pace. Not only did he stop doing that, he's tried a little bit of track stand before the halfway line. So they'll come back to the start line, they'll have that explained to them by our official starter, and they'll get underway again. We go again. Sebastian Topping leads away this time. Rensburg is laying off a little bit more this time. Rensburg probably going to take the attitude of, just in case the tactic doesn't change from Sebastian Topping, I'll give myself a little bit more space this time. I'll head through the half lap. Topping starts to position himself to the top of the track again. Rensburg goes up with him. So Topping doesn't bring it to a standstill, but he does make it go slow. Just seeing if Rensburg was keen to come past early. Rensburg's not having any of it as they come into the home straight this time with 2 laps to go. Pace goes up, Rensburg goes to Topping. Now he wants to take it. Now they want to take each other on through the bend. Topping just making sure he's a little bit forward of Rensburg here, and he's got the handlebars clear. Rensburg going to have to try and, if he wants to hold him up, he's going to have to move in front of him, and he does so this time. They'll come up with 1 lap to go. Rensburg dives down very early, still having a look over the shoulder, but he's given Tapping opportunity to get up round the outside, and Tapping does down the back straight, moving very nicely. Sebastian Topping up round the outside. Too strong for Trent Rensburg. It was a good contest between the two though. And Sebastian will go through to the quarters. Trent Rensburg has an opportunity to still get himself there through the repechage. Now next heat comes up onto the track. The 2 Queenslanders, rider number 94 is Will Emlis, rider number 98 is Keita Smalley. So Smalley leads away, Keita leads away from Will. No pace on, just a walking pace. Very gentle walking pace as they head to the back straight. Keita Smalley doing the absolute bare minimum of an acceptable walking pace, puts a little bit of pressure on Will Emlis as they come into the home straight this time. They'll receive 2 laps to go. No pace leading at the bottom of the track for Keita. Comes up to his teammate now as they go through with 2 laps to go. No pace whatsoever between the two. Takes some nerve, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to ride the track bike at a slow pace at the top of the banking. These two not showing any signs of nerves at all. Smalley leads through. He's got Emlis where he wants him at the moment. Can he keep him there? Just trying to go slow enough that he doesn't drop out behind him. He's got to go fast enough that he doesn't pop out the front. They come through this time. Still holding him up. Good riding here. He's going to have to think about going now as they head down the back straight. He still stays up. Emlis going to gradually try to not muscle his way down here, and he does so. Good riding all the way to the line. Emlis just a little bit too strong and fast. Great tactic by Smalley, but Emlis equal to the task and was able to take that one out. Good riding from both riders. Great talent to see. Welcome our next group onto the track from Victoria. We welcome Riley Boyd, and from the ACT we welcome Angus Withington. Not too much between these two in qualifying, 5 versus 8 as they roll away, Boyd and Withington. Boyd just keeping an eye on Withington at the moment is Riley Boyd. Good tactics being employed by our junior men 19 racing here. Nobody willing to give an inch, everyone prepared to just try that little bit extra of something to see if they can unsettle their opponent. You just don't know between ride of who's recovered the best, who feels best about their form. Everything can change in a warm down or a warm up situation in these events. Angus Withington gets himself underway. Through the 200 now, Withington under full speed. Riley Boyd, is he laying off or can he not get to the slipstream here? They'll come into the home straight. Withington too strong from the front. Boyd wasn't able to get close enough to him, so Angus Withington will go through to the next. And Riley will try and come back through the Repechages. Our final heat comes up onto the track. Rider 120 from Victoria is Ben Woods. Rider 119 also from Victoria is Lockie Trenton. Nice riding. Nice riding. Safely through the halfway point, wanted to force his opponent through to the front. He's done that. Now he's trying to entice him into going early by laying off. Not going to fall for it though, his teammate. It was good riding though as they come into the home straight this time. Being led now by Lockie Trenton. Ben Woods did the right thing, did a very good thing, forcing his opponent through to the front. They go through the back straight, lap and a half to go. We'll come to the home straight. We'll come to the home straight now. Now the pace goes up from the two Victorian riders. Trenton on the inside, Woods coming at him through the bend. Drag race down the back straight between these two. Woods trying to get up around the outside of Trenton. Trenton holding him off through the bend at the moment. Good strong riding from both. But the inside run is going to be the difference here. And Lockie Trenton takes that one out, moves through the quarterfinals. And we'll see Ben Woods trying to come back through the repechage. This is the first of our ride-off for a place events. We welcome Rory Fisk from Queensland and Max Woodruff from Tasmania. This is the ride-off for 15th and 16th place. So your qualifying ride is your qualifying ride, but your place at the end of the day is where you end up finishing. Not officially part of the championship, the ride-off, but the riders spend so much money coming to our national championships. A great forward-thinking move to give them as many rides as they can. And Fisk will go up against Woodruff. Woodruff's qualifying time, the Tasmania, was inside 11 seconds, so one of our faster riders here had himself up into the top 8 in qualifying. Finds himself in the 15th to 16th ride-off, but that's sprinting. That's how it can go as Fisk goes to him on the bend, just trying to keep him high at the track now. Good riding here from Fisk, trying to keep the faster man under wraps. He was not able to do it as Woodruff gets himself nicely out as he comes into the home straight. This time Woodruff got himself out of danger. Now he's going to dictate terms to Fisk and decide when they open up for the sprint. Now they head down the back straight. Woodruff with the faster qualifying time between the two. A little bit too strong from the front, you would think, against Rory Fisk, but they race all the way through to the line, and Woodruff will end up with 15th in the competition, Fisk 16th. We'll now move on to the ride-off for 13th and 14th. This is between the South Australian Ewan Grierson and the rider from New Caledonia, 127, Enzo Mataredo. Grierson leads it down the back straight here. Ewan versus Enzo, just keeping the pace on, just a walking pace, but Mataredo just laying off, giving himself a bit of space here to Grierson, the South Australian. We want to get this one taken care of. 13th and 14th in the competition on the line here. Our junior riders have still got a fair bit of racing to come this next couple of days in the junior sprint ranks. There's all the Kieran racing still to happen, which will be exciting. Mataredo laying right off, trying to entice Grierson into going very early here. Grierson not falling for it. Now he's going to start building up because Mataredo's not going to close up. He's got to go. Now they come to the home straight. Mataredo was able to close the speed. Grierson still on the inside. Still got the advantage if he can just push through past the bottom bracket of Mataredo as they go through the bend. Mataredo up around the outside strong, but Grierson taking full advantage of the inside run, and it will work for him as well. Grierson goes across the line, gives a nod of the head to Enzo down the back straight, and shake of the hands between the two young men. Great sportsmanship being shown, great racing. We move on to the first of our under-19 sprint repechages. 3 riders, Chris Mullins from Queensland, Ben Woods from Victoria and Trent Rensburg from WA. The winner will go through to the next round, which is the quarterfinals, and the other 2 will go to a ride-off for their placings. Whistle's gone, riders come back to the home straight. All good this time as they roll away. Chris Mullins wanted to make sure he had that first spot. Trent Rensburg just holding Ben Woods up a little bit. Ben Woods clearly wanted to go to the front spot, and he does now. Woods, Mullins, Rensburg, they head down the back straight. A lot more pace on in this 3-up ride. The winner goes through to the next round. Woods just going to try and dictate terms here at the bottom of the track, with Rensburg very close to him on the outside. Mullins looking for an idea, a way round here. Woods doing the right thing. Mullins moving into a spot that's not really there as they come into the home straight this time. Woods and Rensburg, drag race around the outside. The young West Australian gets himself forward, but he's going to go twice as far as they head down the back straight this time. Rensburg, Mullins following the wheel of Woods, gets through nicely. Can he step out of the slipstream into the home straight? Mullins up round the outside of Woods. Woods will hang on and find himself in the quarterfinals. The rest will come back for a ride-off for their placing. We move on now to repechage number 2, and it's all Queensland, Victoria, WA affair again. This time we welcome Keita Smalley from Queensland, Riley Boyd from Victoria and Lincoln Andrews from WA. Winner to the quarters, the rest will go for a ride-off for their placing. Smalley rides away. Lincoln Andrews gains some height. Boyd quite happy to follow Smalley at this point in the ride. But Lincoln Andrews, he laid off a little bit too much on one of his earlier rides. He likes to gain some height, likes to give himself some room. He'll be looking to give himself less room though in this one. Get a chance to get up into the slipstream. They go through with 2 to go. Smalley is leading very quickly down the back straight, and the other 2 are giving him plenty of room. Time to close up as they come to the home straight, and Smalley is away here, and it's a good ride by the Queenslander. He saw that they were giving him too much room to play with, and he's going to give it everything he's got from just over a lap out. They head down the back straight, but the closing speed of Boyd, the Victorian, they'll come into the home straight. Smalley hang out. Boyd, though, he's running at him and gets around the outside. The closing speed of Riley Boyd was something to behold down the back straight, and he takes Keita Smalley on the line, and he will go through into the quarterfinals. We'll see Lincoln Andrews and Keita Smalley sprint for their place in a ride-off. Ladies and gentlemen, I direct your attention now please to our podium presentations. Our presentations now for our Women's Para Scratch Race Championships. Our national champion in the WC5 category representing Victoria, Alana Forster. We now welcome our presentations for our WC4 podium. And in second place, winner of the silver medal, Meg Lemon, representing South Australia. The medals were presented by event director Louise Jones. In first place, winner of the gold medal and national champion, Tara Nayland. Ladies and gentlemen, we now welcome our national champion in the WC1 category. Representing Victoria, please welcome Talia Clayton-Goody, national champion. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on now to our under-19 men sprint quarterfinals. We welcome to the track from South Australia, Luca Pyatt versus Riley Boyd from Victoria. This is over the best of 3 rides. Luca Pyatt making sure he gives himself plenty of space to Riley Boyd as they come through. Riley's only had the 10-minute break. The minimum break they have to have, the riders, is 10 minutes, and that's all he's received after riding himself into the quarterfinals here. So the legs will be tight and juicy. How is he going to go against Luca Pyatt, who's had a bit more of recovery, and he's also the faster qualifier here today, and he's up round the outside of Boyd. There's a look over the shoulder. Boyd out of the saddle, trying his best. It's a very big ask of Riley Boyd here because he's only 10 minutes ago got himself into the quarterfinals. He goes up against the top qualifier. Luca Pyatt will go through with race number 1. And hopefully Riley will get a little bit more of a break before the next one and see what he can do in race number 2. Race number 2. Race number 2, heat number 1 now. Mitchell Stevens versus Benjamin Woods. South Australia versus Victoria once again. Stevens, the faster of the 2 in qualifying earlier today. The top 2 were the 2 South Australians, Pyatt and Stevens. Woods quite happy to try and lead this one out. He rode very well in the repechage to get himself up into the quarters. He's going to try and dictate terms here to Stevens and see how that goes for him. Coming to the home straight this time. Woods just keeping an eye on where Stevens is, but Stevens being very attentive. And they'll go through the bend this time and come very close together. Woods equal to the task of just backing off, trying to put Stevens under a bit of pressure. Stevens a bit more run around the outside this time. He's caught Woods napping ever so slightly. Drops down in front of him nicely here, the South Australian. Now commits, 1 lap to go, and Stevens is committed as he heads through the 200. And Woods, the body language suggests he's not going to get there. Stevens cruising through the bend at this time. Woods hasn't made any ground up whatsoever. And Stevens will take race number 1 of this best of 3. Race 3, heat number 1. Once again, another one of our Victorian riders up onto the track. This is Lockie Trenton, and his opponent from Queensland is Sebastian Topping. Trenton quite happy to lead through the first half lap at a pace, quite relaxed. Topping and he now just start to hold things up a little bit as they go into the bend. No pace on whatsoever. You can see Topping just gaining a little bit of height, just making sure he's on top of his gear. They'll come to the home straight this time. Trenton, not enough pace on, giving the opportunity for Topping to get up around the outside. A lot of coming together down the back straight. Now Topping says enough of that, I'm going to go to the front. I was the faster qualifier. I'm going to turn the pace on. Pace on nicely here from Topping as he has a look over the shoulder to see where Trenton is. Now he's committed full gas down the back straight from the Queenslander, and Trenton having troubles getting to him. They come through the bend. Topping too strong this time. Trenton will close, but Topping will go across quite comfortably in the end. Race 4 and heat number 1 now. We welcome Will Emlis from Queensland, and his opponent is Angus Withington from the ACT. Both riders gone through pretty well this morning, or this afternoon should I say, the session of the day. Gone through relatively unscathed. Withington now goes through to the front. Emlis makes no effort to worry about giving up front's position. He's quite happy to follow at this stage. Element of the surprise is what he's looking for here. Underneath the scoreboard, Withington being attentive, dictating terms, not a lot of pace on the front. Does the right thing, rides up towards Emlis here, just holds him up a little bit. As they start to come into the home straight, no pace on, but Withington still dictating terms. This is the opportunity as they come into the home straight, as the gap opens up a little bit. Worthington does the right thing. He dives down the track to get up onto speed. Now out of the saddle, full commitment here from the rider from the ACT. Emlis not out of the saddle, just trying to do it all from the saddle, but Withington's started the sprint far too strong for him, and he will take race number 1. He's got another chance, Emlis, and try and work out what to do against Angus Withington. This next ride coming out onto the track is the ride-off for 11th and 12th. And welcome onto the track from Western Australia, Lincoln Andrews, and from Queensland, Chris Mullins. Lincoln draws front spot and he'll lead away for the first half lap. A good afternoon of sprinting thus far with our riders. Mullins quite happy to move to the front. Lincoln Andrews, we've seen him do this in a couple of previous rides. He gives himself a lot of space to his opponent. Each rider will be watching each round of sprinting, or if they're not watching, their coaches will be. They'll be taking notes from rider to rider of how they go throughout the day. Sometimes riders don't tend to change the tactics. You can sometimes foresee that they're going to do the same thing. Andrews is doing something different this time, a little bit closer to his opponent. Mullins quite happy to just try and slow things down a little bit here. They'll come into the bend and come up with one lap to go. Mullins at the bottom of the track, keeping a good eye on Lincoln Andrews. No pace on. They're both starting to think about it as they go through with one to go. It's going to be a short sprint between the two. Mullins has one final look, and now he goes. Can Lincoln Andrews get there as they go down the back straight? Mullins is trying to get up onto top speed. Lincoln Andrews is flying through the bend, but Mullins is underway up to the line. Andrews up round the outside. Makes it look comfortable as he crosses the line. So he will finish in the higher place of 11th for this championship. Chris Mullins will finish in 12th as they finish their sprint competition here today. So we move on now to the ride-off for 9th and 10th. Welcome the West Australian Trent Rensburg with his opponent from Queensland. This is Keita Smalley. Trent Rensburg has a good look at him off the start line, just making sure that it's definitely Keita. Now he rolls away. They head to the back straight. Smalley just laying off a little bit. He was the faster qualifier of these two. Rensburg just trying to disrupt affairs as they come into the home straight at this time. 2 laps to go. Both riders moving around nicely, not afraid of using the track. Coming together very closely. Coming together of the 2 riders there on the bend. That's one for the commissaires to keep an eye on. Not something we do in sprinting these days, as Rensburg keeps Smalley at the top of the track. Pinned to the top of the track as they come through to the bend this time. Rensburg now getting challenged up around the outside by Smalley. Track advantage to Rensburg at the moment, but Smalley coming up onto pace as they head down the back straight. Smalley the faster qualifier, but he's got to go twice as far wide, and he goes round Rensburg this time. No trouble in the end for Keita Smalley. He will finish 9th in the championship. Rensburg will finish 10th. So we move on to race number 1 and heat number 2 in our sprint quarterfinals, Luca Pyatt versus Riley Boyd. Luca Pyatt is 1 race up in this best of 3. Luca, the fastest qualifier of our group here today, hasn't really been challenged just yet. He's using his speed and his tactics very nicely, trying to get himself through as easily as he possibly can. And Riley Boyd, he's come back through the repechages to get himself into the quarterfinal. He's ridden brilliantly to do so. Hasn't had a lot of rest though to get him through to this point of the race. Pyatt just gets himself across the halfway point down the back straight as he starts to pull it up, putting the pressure on Boyd. Boyd quite happy just to follow for this part of the journey. The element of surprise, all important for Riley Boyd here against Luca Pyatt. They come into the home straight, start to pick up the pace, and then they just start to back it off again. Pyatt using the track nicely. See the way he rolls down the bend. Gets up onto the top of his pace now out of the saddle because he can see that Boyd is moving forward. Luca Pyatt's not interested in messing around here. He wants to make sure he gets himself through to the semi-finals. Wins this one, he can go home and have a little bit of a break and come back this evening. Moving nicely, doing a lot of looking over the shoulder. He comes into the home straight this time. He's got the measure of Riley Boyd and he will go through to the semi-finals. Race 2, Heat 2 of our under-19 sprint quarterfinals. We welcome back onto the track from Victoria Benjamin Woods and his opponent Mitchell Stevens from South Australia. Mitchell Stevens is 1 race up. Looking to get this one out the way. Woods leads away. He's done well to get here. He had to come back through the repechage as well. Did very well to do so. And took on Mitchell Stevens very nicely in this first ride. Top 2 or 3 in this competition. They've held on to their seedings quite nicely. It's been a good contest so far this afternoon in the junior men's sprint. Woods leads into the home straight now. Woods. Stevens just giving him a little bit of space, the sprinter's space. Got room to move. Woods covering the bottom of the track. The idea being that Stevens has to go around the outside and can accelerate away from him and pick up pace to try and take on the acceleration of his opponent. Stevens laying right off here as they come into the home straight. Woods starting to pick up pace nicely, doing the right thing here, but Stevens really starting to get that gear rolling, putting himself in a position to get round. Didn't go through the inside, thought better of it. Woods has right of way here as they go into the bend, but once Stevens gets going, he sits down and accelerates. He'll come up round the outside of Benjamin Woods, and Mitch Stevens will go through to the semi-final. Race number 3, heat number 2 now, between Sebastian Topping from Queensland and Lockie Trenton from Victoria. Sebastian Topping, one ride up in this best of 3. The Queenslander will lead away on the enemy's Velodrome here this afternoon. It's been a great 4 days so far of racing. We've still got the weekend to go with our under-19s and elites and our para-athletes, and tomorrow we will be joined by our under-17 and under-15 riders as well, so it's going to be a packed weekend of racing. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have the under-15 and under-17 contests. It's been a huge couple of weeks of track racing, 2.5 weeks of track racing. Of course, last week we had the Masters Championships for 4 days. So some great racing, part of the Brisbane Cycling Festival. And there's more to come, but it'll go outdoors, out onto the roads and the off-road. So plenty to look forward to, plenty for all of our Queenslanders and some of our interstate guests to really start to enjoy. They head down the back straight with a lap and a half to go. Sebastian Topping leads the way, putting the pressure on Lockie Trenton here. Pace goes up. Topping leads, starting to commit down the back straight, sits down, really gets up on top of the gear now, gets a little bit more out of it. Moving nicely, the Queenslander. The Victorian runs at him, but he can't quite get there. And Sebastian Topping will find himself in the quarterfinals with the 2 South Australians for the moment. Race 4, heat number 2, about to come out onto the track. Welcome back, a rider who is one race up in this best of 3 series from the ACT. This is Angus Withington, and his opponent from Queensland is Will Emlis. Angus draws front spot. Well, not draws front spot, it's his turn to lead in the second ride, and leads down the back straight, the ACT rider. Just the walking pace, got to get past that halfway line before you start thinking about pulling it up into a track stand. Just happy to keep Emlis up the track, trying at his nerves, seeing if he's happy to ride up on the banking at slow pace. Emlis quite happy to, not bothered at all. The lighter rider between the two. I'll come through this time with 2 laps to go. Withington keeping Emlis exactly where he wants him, just pinned up. Feels he can dive down the track. If Emlis tries to race through the gate that's open, he can dive down the track and Emlis has to follow. Pace goes up now. He knows that Emlis has an opportunity, but he's making sure he's going to have to take him on from the outside here. Emlis trying to force his way through, and Withington holds him high. Good racing here from the man from the ACT. Now they go down the back straight, out of the saddle. Emlis up into the slipstream though. Withington trying to get on top of the gear as he comes through the bend. Emlis will come at him in the home straight, but Withington will hold on by half a wheel. Great sprinting between the two. But Withington will go through to the semi-finals. All of our juniors semi-finals are now sorted already. 2 straight rides for each of them. Well done to Angus Withington. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on to racing at 4:06. Racing will resume at 4:06. That way we give a 10-minute break to all of our riders who have just finished the quarterfinals, and we're moving on to the semi-finals. Racing will be underway again at 4:06.
Which way is camera 2? This one?
No, camera 2 is that one over there.
Okay.
And it's a fixed camera, and it just films down the backstage. So, you know how we can see coming down the front straight, we can see them head on. Well, that one over there is filming head on so that we can see how much width we can see whether they're this way, but we can't see how close they are this way. So that camera there helps us. Come CJ.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We move on now to our semi-finals of our Junior Men's Sprint Championship. Our first riders will be coming up. This will be race number 1, heat number 1. This is Luca Pyatt of South Australia, and our ACT rider Angus Withington. Just like the quarterfinals, best 2 of 3. And Luca Pyatt, 10-2 in qualifying, 10-8 for Angus Withington. So there's a little bit of speed difference between these two. So Withington's have to use a tactic to see what he can do against Luca Pyatt. And good racing so far. And Pyatt will lead away. I'm impressed with how he sprinted here today. He was quite considerably quicker than everybody else in qualifying, but in his rides so far, he hasn't taken any chances. He's made sure that he's won his races comfortably. Sometimes you'll see a rider that far in front of the competition, they'll use as little effort as possible and sometimes get themselves into a bit of strife in the early rounds, but Luca hasn't done that. He's made sure he's won every single race by a good margin. Angus Withington has ridden brilliantly to get to this point in the semi-finals. Untroubled in his rides. They come through with 2 to go. Who's going to get the better of each other in this first ride now? Look at Pyatt. This is the sort of thing we've become accustomed to seeing from him this afternoon. As soon as he sees his opponent starting to think about moving forward, he just picks up the pace and starts riding at a pace where he just controls everything. He does like to look over his shoulder a lot though, does Luca Pyatt, and as he goes down the back straight, Angus Withington is taking him on and getting around the outside of him. Withington is going around the outside of the fastest qualifier. What a nice piece of riding there. Withington from the ACT takes ride number 1. Upset the seeding straight away. Well, this has been a great sprint competition. A number of seeds have gone up and gone down. Withington takes race number 1. Perfectly executed ride. Race 2, Heat 1. This will be Sebastian Topping from Queensland. His opponent will be Mitchell Stevens from South Australia. Stevens was the second fastest qualifier. Topping the nothing between these two in qualifying. Mitchell Stevens at 10.53. Sebastian Topping 10.57, just 0.04 between these two. The difference between Pyatt and Withington was 0.6 of a second, so expect to see some good semi-final racing between these riders. We've seen the first one. What can Mitch Stevens and Sebastian Topping bring us for entertainment in this ride now? Two laps to go. Stevens leads the way over the top of Topping as they head down the back straight. Trying to make sure he doesn't get caught napping here with a lap and a half to go. Stevens goes to Topping, just trying to dictate terms here. Stevens underway now. Now there's nothing between these two against the stopwatch. Topping's got himself into the slipstream as they go to the back straight. Stevens with some work to do. The Queenslander up round the outside, shoulder to shoulder now as they come through the bend. Stevens pushes back on the inside, and the rider on the inside is going to get they come together just after the line, but only through the effort of throwing their bikes. Stevens takes that one. That was great racing from both, but Stevens, the shorter way home on the inside was the difference. Great racing and great they both kept it up as they threw for the line. So ladies and gentlemen, there will be a few minutes of interlude, so we make sure our riders get a 10-minute break between each race, so bear with us, we'll be back shortly.
Yes, sorry, we were interrupted.
You said according to last week.
Yep.
This is Repechage.
Yeah. So in heat one, you might have the two teams that were the slowest last year. The live stream cameras somewhere in this discussion. Sorry. So the two teams that would have been in the slowest stakes last year were, I think it's a combined team. So I think there's a combined team going out tonight. So the highest ranked state team from last year, second highest.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you back again. We're going to move on to the second heat of our junior men's semi-finals as our riders come up onto the track. Luca Pyatt from South Australia and Angus Withington from the ACT. And Angus Withington is one race up in this best of three competition. So it's Angus's turn to lead away this time. If he can get himself across the line first in this one, he'll find himself in the gold medal right off. Not a lot of break between the rounds for these riders. It's been a good rhythm to the contest. 10 minutes is the most they've really had if they've come back through repechages and so forth, these riders. Only a 10-minute break between each round of the quarterfinals. Now just a 10-minute break between ride number 1 and where we are now. They come to the home straight. Withington leads from Pyatt. 2 to go. Pyatt gets himself to the front. He did this in the first ride. Dictated terms from an early way, and now he's getting underway again. A lap and a half to go. The fastest qualifier. A little bit nervous about the pace of Angus Withington. He's got a nice move here, but Withington's closing speed in a couple of his rides here today has been magnificent, and it's going to be no exception for the final here. Pyatt, I can only figure the young man is injured from earlier in the day. He was their fastest qualifier. Angus Withington is going to go through into the final. He was the 4th fastest seeded rider in this semi-final contest, so Angus Withington is going to get to race for the gold and silver medals here tonight. Good riding there from Angus Withington. Move on to race number 2, heat 2 now. We welcome back Sebastian Topping from Queensland, and his opponent is Mitchell Stevens from South Australia, our 2nd and 3rd fastest qualifiers here today. Just 0.03 of a second between these two in qualifying, and Stevens is 1 race up in this best of 3. So walking pace as he goes through the first half of lap number 1 here for Sebastian Topping. Mitch Stevens giving himself a little bit of room, possibly trying to entice Topping into going early. You'll know that Topping's trying to think of a different tactic possibly. He tried to come off the wheel on the last one, it almost worked for him. This time Mitchell Stevens might be thinking, I'll come off his wheel, take away the element of surprise. They'll come round 1.5 laps to go as they head down the back straight this time. The riders coming together a little bit closer this time now. So Topping starts to build pace. Stevens up high, looking for a way round. Not a lot of pace on, maybe not enough pace. Now they're starting to move. Topping holding Stevens up around the outside. Stevens too strong, he's got such good acceleration. Topping turns off the gas and accepts defeat. Mitch Stevens will take ride number 2 and he will go through into the final. He's happy about that. Sebastian Topping will be racing for the bronze medal. Ladies and gentlemen, that completes today's session. Our evening session will be starting at 6 p.m. It's only an hour and a half away. We hope you can join us then. If you joined us on the AusCycling YouTube channel, we hope to see you again. Or join us tomorrow, but tonight you'll be able to catch all the action on SBS or SBS On Demand with Scott McGorry and Kate Bates on the microphone. I'm Matt Pointer. It's been a pleasure once again to take you through these sessions, and we will see you this evening inside Meares Velodrome.